Hey guys, this is Alex for Alex's Flying Club. Welcome back to another video in our DC-3 as we continue on our journey across the United States in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004. In this flight, we'll be flying from Buffalo, New York to Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. And we're mostly going to be flying just to the north of Lake Erie. And for the beginning of our climb, the beginning of our flight, we'll see also Lake Ontario to the right of the aircraft as well. So one of the things that I'm considering doing this, starting this December and going into January, is the DC3 World Rally 2013 that DC3 Airways is putting on. I've been reading a little bit about it, and it's open to anybody, and it runs for the most part through January 2014. It's a series of flights that people who join fly together. You don't necessarily have to fly in an online multiplayer setting, but you fly the same flights and then you post your flight data to the DC3 Airways database. And these flights are specially selected to challenge DC3 pilots and also see kind of a diverse sector, or I don't know how to say it, see a lot of cool places as they're flying around the world. So they offer on their website a lot of resources for people to kind of learn a little bit more about the DC-3. And yeah, those have been really helpful. I've been kind of looking at some of the PDFs and navigation descriptions and some of the links they provide. And I just think it's a good way. It is a bit of a time commitment, but I think it may be a good way to learn more about civilian aviation. Another thing that I've been doing is following along with a YouTube user's videos by the name of FSX Genius. And he posts tutorials about Microsoft Flight Simulator X. And although I'm mostly, or pretty much exclusively flying Flight Simulator 2004, those tutorials are pretty much applicable just the same, because he's flying in a Cessna 172, and the Flight Simulator 2004 Cessna is just the same as the one that he's using. So all the instruments work the same way, and all the concepts pretty much apply. And in fact, the navigational planning tool that he uses, the FS Commander, is also compatible with Flight Simulator 9. So I'm on the second tutorial, and it's been really helpful with learning about the different navigational aids, like the NDB and the VOR, which I hadn't known about before, but I've been practicing them in the little Cessna. And I noticed that they are also available in the DC-3. In fact, a panel that I pretty much haven't been using at all is that navigation and communication panel on the DC-3. If you look straight up from the magnetic compass, it'll be above the pilot's head, in between the two pilots, just to the right of the all the switches for the lights. Now, I used to think that the Cessna 172 was kind of a boring plane to fly, just something you start with, maybe do a couple flights and then move on to more interesting aircraft. But if you actually try to fly the correct way, and follow the tutorials by FSX Genius. It's actually quite a challenge to fly within the parameters of the aircraft and to use all the instruments properly and to land smoothly. It's quite a fun little aircraft, I find. And especially with A2A Simulations coming out with a great add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator X for the Cessna 172. It's their most recently released product, and I'll put links in this video to everything that I mentioned down below. When I do get Microsoft Flight Simulator X, I'll definitely get that add-on and really utilize the Cessna to its full potential. But even in 2004, it's still a really fun aircraft to fly, and I'm enjoying it. And it's going to prove useful for flying the DC-3. So here we see Lake Erie to our left. And there's a little bit of Lake Ontario to our right. One of the more surprising things about flying in these civilian flight simulators is that I believe it actually has helped me with combat flight simulators. When you spend about an hour doing 15-degree banking turns in a Cessna, and then hop into a combat flight simulator like Aces High, it really helps to conserve your energy when you're dogfighting, because you're so used to handling an aircraft gently in an aircraft such as a Cessna, that if you're flying a Corsair, which I often do, that's my squadron's main aircraft, your movements become smoother, which is very important in an aircraft like the Corsair, which is an energy fighter. If you're fighting against an aircraft like a A6M0, which is a turn fighter, you really rely on conserving your energy and conserving your speed and having very smooth motions and planning your flight and planning your maneuvers accordingly. So I think being in an aircraft like a Cessna or a DC-3 and flying them the correct way will also help you in a combat flight simulator. So I think the goal for, if I were to do the DC3 World Rally 2013, would be that I wouldn't use the GPS at all. I would just use the navigation beacons and frequencies of various sorts, because the DC3 pilots back in the day did not have GPS, obviously. So I think they had to rely on these different kinds of navigational aids. So it's been fun trying to learn these fundamentals of aviation that I hadn't ever learned about. So here we are, we're coming up on Detroit. Gonna go through some clouds over Lake St. Clair, I believe. I personally enjoy flying through clouds, but as you can see, I think you often get turbulence when you're flying around them. And here I just wanted to quickly show something that I think would not happen in real life is look how close that airplane came to my aircraft. So I have yet to learn about flight patterns, and I think aircraft tend to space themselves out a lot more rather than come that close to flying next to one another. And I've actually been wondering during the course of these 5 flights when this would happen, that I would almost run into an aircraft since I'm not following any kind of procedures. And there's Detroit. One of these islands, I know, either to the right or to the left of the river, there seem to be 2 of them. Sorry, to the right or the left in the river is where one of the IndyCar races takes place, the Detroit Grand Prix or whatever it's called. But no, it takes place on one of those islands. I chose the spring season for this flight, and I was hoping to see more like green trees, flower, or we don't really see flowers blooming, but greenery. But for the most part, it looked like it was early spring, where the snow had just thawed, and most of the flight was looking like autumn almost. One of the things I've been wondering about is, I know you have to aim at the far end of the runway when you're trying to line up your approach, but I have a hard time telling where exactly the aircraft is traveling. Like, should the runway be facing the pilot, like where I am, or a little bit to the right of the pilot? Where is straight exactly for the aircraft? Is it the nose? It's something that I have a hard time visualizing. Maybe there's some guidelines out there for various aircraft. Pappy lights look good. Well, I think I'll leave off the narration right here. There's a little bit more of the engine shutdown procedure left. But thank you guys for watching. I'll post all the links to the websites I mentioned down in the description of the video. And I hope to make more of these videos as I learn more. And and fly without GPS eventually.
11.45 for Douglas Niner Echo Hotel.
So, thanks again for watching, and see you guys next time.